Hi everyone, this is Margaret Manning with 60 and Me. This is the place where women over 60 come to be inspired. My guest today is Nancy Parode. Nancy is a travel expert and she writes for About.com about senior and boomer travel. And she also writes for 60 and Me. It's great to have you here, Nancy. Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Nancy, we asked you all kinds of wonderful and weird questions, but we have one that came up recently that is really relevant and something I want to get your further opinion on. And that is a lot of older women or older people are looking for bargains. And, they often get called up by a telemarketer or someone that's offering a special deal. And some of these sound really good. Well, it turns out in the article that you've written for us on this that a lot of them are scams. Mm-hmm. And I'd love you to give us a bit more detail about what people can look for and just how to manage them, how to deal with them.
Okay. Well, I mean, the bottom line with traveling is if something seems like it's a deal that's too good to be true, it probably is. So you really need to be cautious if somebody especially calls you and offers you this fabulous deal on a cruise or a package tour or some other travel opportunity, and you know in your heart that it's ridiculously low priced compared to other opportunities that you've been researching.
Yes, yeah.
Don't just fall for it and start handing out your credit card number. I wouldn't recommend handing out your credit card number to anyone over the telephone unless you called them, just in general.
Yes, good
But
advice.
seniors do tend to be the targets of travel scammers. So it's important to do your homework and ask for, if the deal sounds good, you want to look into it further, that's great. Ask them to send you something in writing so that you can review every single word and make sure you know exactly what you're getting. Because perhaps the deal is good, but you can only travel every other Tuesday when the moon is full. That might be in the contract, but if you are on the phone, you can't see the contract. Oftentimes, if you ask for something in writing, the scammer will give up and hang up or say that they'll send you something and never do that.
Yes.
That has definitely happened to me where I've said, I'm happy to consider this if you send it to me in writing, and they say, oh yeah, we'll do that. And they never do because they are scammers.
Yeah.
Similarly, you can get offers in the mail, and the same thing applies. You can do some homework pretty quickly by going online and doing a web search on the name of the travel provider and wonderful words like scam and ripoff and, thief and losers and lawsuit. So something will pop up because people tend to go online and complain about somebody who's ripped them off. This applies to, I've done research on vacation rentals where people have, masqueraded as owners of an apartment in, say, Paris, and they don't own the apartment. And people go online and they complain and they name names. So if you do some web research, you can avoid being scammed pretty easily.
Are there any sites, just speaking of research, are there any sites that actually specialize or focus on this, on outing travel scams? It just occurred to me.
There are. You have to take them with a little bit of a grain of salt. It takes some nerve sometimes to read through all the rants on some of these sites. One of the ones I look at is called Ripoff Report, and it's not just for travel; it's for everything. So it can be, your local auto repair store put the lug nut on my tire incorrectly. So you
fell off.
If that happens, you have a big problem because your wheel is going to fall off. Sorry. But yeah, you can look online at Ripoff Report and other scam websites. Another really great tool is a cell phone app. It's called Scam Detector. This is a really great little tool. The last time I looked at it, it lists scams of a wide variety of types, but they had 138 different travel scams listed. And that is including everything from taxi scams to, that the person who drops the coin on the ground and you bend down to help them and then they steal your purse and run away. So there are a lot of different types of scams covered on Scam Detector, but it's a really handy app to because it helps you become more aware of the things that could go wrong so that you can be a smart traveler and avoid them.
Yeah. And I think that the point is that a lot of seniors are targets for these type of things. There's another stereotype that we're breaking every day in 60 and Me. And, the aging stereotype that this little old lady is going to be vulnerable or, more able to be persuaded to take this on. But I think that we also sometimes, though, get very blinded by a bargain. And I think that as an older person on a pension or a fixed budget, it's sometimes hard.
That's true. And scammers tend to target seniors because even though many seniors do live on fixed incomes, some of those fixed incomes are, pretty decent. Compared to other demographic groups that the scammers could target. They prey on seniors in particular because seniors like to spend money on travel and they have some available money to spend. And seniors are very well known for being bargain hunters, especially if you grew up in the Depression era or post-Depression era, or you were raised by someone from that era.
Yes.
Frugality is a mindset that many seniors have, and it's very good because, of course, we all want to enjoy our lives to the fullest. And, if we harvest husband our money well, then we can do more of that. So it's a virtue, but it's a virtue that scammers try to take advantage of. So being aware is a really good thing to do.
Yeah. So you mentioned phone calls, and we talked about mail, and I would also mention email. Because I just got an email the other day from the Federal Express telling me that I had a package that was going to be delivered to me for, I think I was going to win $1 million. It was maybe $6 million. I can't remember.
Great.
It was fantastic. But, you get so used to now just deleting those emails. But be careful, because sometimes they make their pages look really real.
They do.
They put the logo of the company, and they only need to, convince 100 people to their scam to, before they're discovered, to make a lot of money. So,
yeah, one way to detect that scam is to look at the sender's email address, because they can't hide that. If they're not Federal Express, the sender's email address will say something like FedEx dot some 2-letter code of another country. It won't say FedEx.com because FedEx.com, the real FedEx website, didn't send it. Another scam that's kind of related is the grandchild in trouble scam, where it's not you that's traveling, but you get an email or a phone call that says, your grandchild, and sometimes they name names, is in trouble and you need to wire transfer money to some account to get them out of jail or to help them get a ticket home or whatever. This is a really common scam right now, and people fall for it because it involves family members. So always verify with a different trusted family member before you wire money. Any request to wire money has the potential to be a scam, whether it's associated with family members or not. Wire transfers are scammers' best friends. And so I always caution people, if you're going to rent a vacation apartment, don't wire the money. Try to pay for it with a credit card, because you can dispute the charges on a credit card and get that money back. But once you wire transfer money to someone, you will never see it again. So you have to be totally sure that you're sending it to a legitimate entity, not to a scammer.
Okay, well, it is scary because, it's just that you want to be a kind, nice person. And if someone offers you something, you don't want to be rude. You want to consider what they're saying, but be careful. And I guess that, the bottom line that you mentioned in the article is just to be buyer beware.
Exactly.
Just be really, really aware of your, like you say, what's too good to be true, and questioning and, pushing back. Any last minute thoughts, Nancy?
I would say that if you feel in your gut that it might be a scam, that's your clue to, do some homework, get online, check with the Better Business Bureau if you're in the United States. There are a lot of resources that you have at your disposal to find out whether this deal is good or not. And sometimes the deals are really good. There are times when travel companies put huge discounts on trips because they want to fill the trip so that it can go and you can save a lot of money and have a wonderful time. So, there are deals out there. You just need to be ready to spend just a few minutes researching before you start paying money. And then when you pay with a credit card if at all possible.
Great advice. Well, don't be a victim. Enjoy your travels and look for bargains, but just be very, very thoughtful of what's out there. There's a lot of crazy people around. Nancy,
Definitely.
Thank you so much again for your time, your great advice. And people, check out Nancy's column at about.com. Did they just go in and type about.com, Nancy Parode?
They can do that. Or if you type in senior travel and the words about.com, you will find me. If you Google senior travel, I'm usually in the top 2 or 3 search results. So any of those ways works.
I have honestly never met anybody who has the breadth of knowledge about travel that you do. And I'm so grateful that you're here to help us out with our questions. And we'll talk to you again soon. Thank you, Nancy. Thank you.